In the complex realm of international relations, few issues carry as much potential for conflict as the delicate situation between China and the United States over Taiwan. For decades, the two superpowers have managed to avoid direct confrontation, but ominous signs now suggest that the fragile peace may not endure much longer. As the world watches with bated breath, analysts and policymakers grapple with the question of whether the US should flex its military might in the Taiwan Strait to prepare for a possible war with China. However, it's crucial to recognize that this is more than just a military conundrum. It is a strategic problem requiring a nuanced and multifaceted approach.
海峡两岸一家亲，衷心希望两岸同胞相向而行，携手并进，共创中华民族绵长福祉。
To understand the current situation, we need to dive into a bit of history. It all started with the Chinese Civil War. The conflict, which began in 1927, was a struggle for control between the nationalists, led by the Kuomintang, and the communists. By 1949, the communists emerged victorious, establishing the People's Republic of China. The nationalists, however, didn't disappear. They retreated to Taiwan, established their government, and claimed to be the legitimate government of all of China. This situation led to two governments, each claiming to represent China, and a dispute that's still unresolved today. For years, many nations, including the United States, recognized Taiwan's government as the legitimate government of China. But in the 1970s, a shift happened. Most nations, including the US, began to recognize the People's Republic of China, essentially sidelining Taiwan in the international community. But that didn't mean Taiwan was left in the cold. In fact, the US, along with several other countries, maintains strong unofficial relationships with Taiwan. They sell it arms, engage in trade, and support its participation in international organizations.
We agree with what we signed on to a long time ago, and that there's a one China policy, that Taiwan makes their own judgments about their independence. We are not we're not encouraging their being independent. That's their decision.
This is where things get complicated. China views Taiwan as a breakaway province, not a separate country. It has vowed to bring Taiwan under its control, by force if necessary. This stance is a major point of tension, not just between China and Taiwan, but also with countries that support Taiwan, like the US.
But would US forces defend the island?
Yes, if in fact there was an unprecedented attack.
In the past, this tension has sometimes escalated to outright military confrontation. Notably, during the First and Second Taiwan Strait crises in the 1950s and 1958. In both instances, the US intervened to prevent a potential invasion of Taiwan by China. Despite these flashpoints, the situation has remained relatively stable, thanks to a principle known as strategic ambiguity. Basically, it's a diplomatic dance in which the US doesn't officially recognize Taiwan as a separate country, but provides it with enough military support to deter a potential Chinese invasion. But this status quo is increasingly under pressure. In recent years, China has become more assertive in its claims over Taiwan, carrying out regular military drills near the island, and ramping up diplomatic pressure on countries that maintain unofficial relations with Taiwan. And then there's Taiwan itself. It's a vibrant democracy, with a growing sense of separate identity. More and more Taiwanese, especially the younger generation, see themselves as Taiwanese, not Chinese. This shift is influencing Taiwan's politics and its stance towards China. But what does all this mean for the future? It's hard to say. Some argue that as China grows stronger, reunification, by force if necessary, is inevitable. Others suggest that Taiwan's growing sense of identity and its strong ties with countries like the US may lead to an eventual formal declaration of independence. Either outcome has profound implications, not just for Taiwan and China, but for the Asia-Pacific region and the world. It would impact global trade, security dynamics, and the balance of power between the world's major powers. The strategic significance of Taiwan cannot be overstated. Under the 1979 Taiwan Relations Act, the US is bound to ensure the island's protection against any coercion or use of force.
We agree with a one China policy. We signed on to it, and all the attendant agreements made from there. But the idea that it can be taken by force, just taken by force, is just not appropriate. It will dislocate the entire region and be another action similar to what happened in Ukraine.
Apart from its legal obligations, Washington has strong reasons to stand firmly beside Taiwan. As a leading democracy in Asia, the island is not only an integral part of global value chains, but also embodies the shared interests of the U.S. In the pursuit of peace and stability, the U.S. must adopt a more comprehensive strategy. Understanding China's anxiety and avoiding cornering Chinese President Xi Jinping are crucial steps.
我们要全面加强练兵备战，提高人民军队打赢能力。祖国完全统一一定要实现，也一定能够实现。
The ultimate goal should be to convince both Beijing and Taipei that time is on their side, deterring any imminent conflict. This approach necessitates a more sophisticated understanding of Beijing's calculus and investing in tools that bolster Taiwan's resilience and prosperity beyond mere military aid. While some may argue that this sidesteps the root confrontation, at times, avoiding head-on confrontations may be the wisest course of action. Over the years, the balance of power in the Taiwan Strait has shifted. China's military capabilities have surged, narrowing the gap with the U.S., thereby altering the dynamics in the region. Beijing's willingness to engage in confrontations has increased, and the U.S. has shifted its focus from principled arbitration to countering threats posed to Taiwan. Amid these changes, analysts' concerns about an impending Chinese invasion or blockade need careful examination, as China's strategic timeline may not be as fixed as perceived.
凡今之人，莫如兄弟，两岸同胞是一家人。我们愿以最大诚意，尽最大努力，争取和平统一前景。
As China's military might grows, Taiwan faces a growing sense of urgency. Worries of abandonment by the U.S. and concerns over Chinese aggression have fueled Taipei's concerns. Nevertheless, while the military threat is real, other challenges lurk on the horizon, including Beijing's relentless efforts to isolate and weaken Taiwan, compelling the island to negotiate on unfavorable terms. The Taiwan Strait crisis demands a comprehensive and forward-thinking approach from the U.S. Balancing military preparedness with diplomatic finesse and understanding China's aspirations are crucial to preserving peace and stability. By addressing broader strategic challenges while steering clear of undue escalation, the U.S. can pave the way for a peaceful future in the region.
中方坚决反对任何形式的美台官方往来，坚决反对台独分裂分子以任何名义、任何理由篡美，坚决反对美方以任何形式纵容支持台独分裂分子及其分裂行径。
However, one thing remains clear: time is of the essence, and action must be taken to secure lasting peace in the Taiwan Strait. As tensions mount between China, the United States, and Taiwan, a careful and calculated approach is necessary to preserve peace and stability in the Taiwan Strait. Missteps could lead to unintended escalation, with disastrous consequences for all parties involved. While the military dimension is critical, a comprehensive strategy that considers geopolitical realities and China's motivations is essential to safeguarding the interests of the U.S. and Taiwan. Despite China's growing military capabilities, the decision to launch an invasion of Taiwan remains a strategic quandary for Xi Jinping. Invading Taiwan would risk triggering regional backlash, undermining China's global economic integration, and inviting military engagement with the U.S. and other regional powers. Consequently, China's leadership is wary of the astronomical cost such a conflict would incur, deterring them from hasty military action. The U.S. must recognize that the Taiwan issue is deeply political for China, driven not only by ideological factors, but also by a desire to assert power. Framing tensions solely as an ideological struggle may inadvertently escalate the situation, backing China into a corner. A nuanced approach, focusing on concrete support to fortify Taiwan's resilience without openly challenging Beijing's narrative, is vital to maintain stability. Instead of getting mired in debates over strategic clarity, the U.S. should acknowledge that its approach to the Taiwan Strait evolves with changing circumstances. The U.S. must be prepared to adjust its posture based on Beijing's actions, or Taiwan's pursuit of symbolic steps that may affect cross-strait stability. Emphasizing a commitment to peace and stability, while respecting the dynamic nature of the region, can lead to a more credible and effective policy. Relying solely on military power to deter conflict is not a sustainable solution. The U.S. should focus on bolstering Taiwan's prosperity, security, and resilience while respecting China's concerns. Supporting Taiwan in non-confrontational ways, such as supply chain resilience, trade agreements, and public health cooperation, can strengthen the island's capacity without escalating tensions.
And in the interest of the world.
Ultimately, the success of U.S. efforts in the Taiwan Strait will be measured by the continued safety, prosperity, and autonomy of Taiwan's people. While reconciliation between China and Taiwan may not happen in the short term, fostering a stable regional environment for Taiwan to thrive is an important goal. Wise statecraft, combined with credible intentions, offers the best path to peace and stability. The Taiwan Strait stands at a critical juncture, with tensions between China, the United States, and Taiwan threatening to escalate into a dangerous conflict.
如果美方不踩刹车，继续沿着错误的道路狂飙下去，再多的护栏也挡不住脱轨翻车，陷入对抗冲突。
A careful and comprehensive approach is essential to preserve peace and stability in the region. While the U.S. must prioritize defending Taiwan's security and upholding its commitment to the island, it should not narrow its focus solely on military fixes. Instead, a broader understanding of China's motivations and anxieties is necessary to elongate Beijing's time horizon and prevent rash actions. Recognizing that China's strategic calculus is complex, the U.S. must avoid backing China into a corner and work towards credible assurances that encourage peaceful resolution. A dynamic approach to the Taiwan issue, adapting to changing circumstances, will be more effective than rigid strategic clarity. Statecraft, diplomacy, and strategic empathy are essential components of a sustainable Taiwan policy. Supporting Taiwan's resilience and prosperity without gratuitously antagonizing China is crucial in this delicate balancing act.
The friendship between the people of Taiwan and America is a matter of profound importance to the free world.
The urgency of keeping the beacon of freedom shining cannot be understated.
Ultimately, the goal is to foster a stable regional environment where the people of Taiwan can continue to live in safety, prosperity, and political autonomy. While full reconciliation between China and Taiwan may not be immediate, preserving peace and stability should be the guiding principle for all parties involved. As the U.S. navigates the complex path ahead, wise statecraft, foresight, and a commitment to peace offer the best chance of avoiding unintended escalation and safeguarding the interests of all stakeholders in the Taiwan Strait. Thanks for watching. Please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe our channel.